Broke Spoke is pretty unique as a place where folks can come and buy a used bike, or they can earn it. So you don't have to have cash to shop at Broke Spoke. We value volunteer time at $8 an hour. So if you get a $40 bike, you owe us 5 hours of volunteer labor, and then you can leave with your bike. So we do provide used bikes for people, and some people just want to come in and buy the bike, and that's great. That helps keep our doors open, but then we don't want money to be a barrier for anyone to have reliable transportation. The neat thing about Broke Spoke is it benefits a lot of different folks in the community. It has a pretty big audience. In terms of the mission, it's to provide better access to better bikes for a transportation purpose. That's the person that rides by necessity, not by choice. So in the snow, they're riding to work. In the rain, they're riding to work. When they get off work and the buses are already closed, they're riding home. That's really the person we're here to service. The person that doesn't have the means to keep their bike up and running all the time, so they end up riding an unsafe bike. And so we get a lot of traffic coming from a lot of the shelters in the area, from the Hope Center, which we're really excited. Our new location actually puts us about 4 blocks closer to the Hope Center. We do a lot of work with the folks at the Lighthouse Ministry and some other places in town, and it's really spread word of mouth. So we've been open since November of 2010 at our current location, which is behind Al's Bar on 6th and North Limestone. And we're now in the process of expanding from 500 square feet to 2,500 square feet in our new space, which will be at the Bread Box on 6th and Bel Air as a part of the West 6 Brewery.
Broke Spoke was one of the very first organizations we thought would be a great fit for this space. Because the Legacy Trail is scheduled to go along the back side of the building, and Broke Spoke is obviously so dedicated to the community and to a lot of the community that we're actually in here. We want to try to surround ourselves, West 6 Brewing here, with other organizations that kind of fit the same community mindset that we were trying to achieve with the brewery. And so we've brought in groups like Broke Spoke, like Food Chain in the basement, like the Roller Girls, and like Cricket Press, and some of the other artists in the back, to really build a community of folks interested in the local community and interested in either through a business or through a nonprofit helping to make it a better place.
We're in a building that's owned by a company, the West 6 Brewery. It's a community space called the Bread Box, and Broke Spoke is a volunteer-run nonprofit that's going to sit on the edge of a government bike trail. It's kind of the holy trinity of the public-private partnerships. It's also just going to give us more of an opportunity to have more of an advocacy arm. Sitting on the bike trail, we'll be able to hold more educational classes, both mechanics classes and just general advocacy, and be more part of the larger cycling community in Lexington.
I'm really excited about moving to the new space because we're going to have obviously a lot more room, and we're going to be able to do what I think is the most important part, which is getting people on bicycles.
I think that also them next to Coolivin Park, where bike polo is played, is a really big strength. So the city's always talking about trying to get intensities of common ideas and common groupings together in the same areas. So I think having Broke Spoke next to bike polo is going to be great.
Before, we had all the bikes in a separate location and all the tools in a separate location. It was just very hard to get a project all together. And I like that it's going to be in one big space, and I think that that'll mean it's easier to start and finish projects.
Broke Spoke has exceeded everyone's expectations, from those of us on the board to the volunteers to the people using the space. I really think it's done more than what any of us expected it to do. Another part of the mission that we don't necessarily talk about is the inherent recycling and waste stream reuse that happens at Broke Spoke. Bikes that come in that can't be fixed up or stripped for the usable parts, and then what can't be reused is then recycled at the scrap yards, and that's a funding source for us, but it's also just a part of the general environmental commitment of having a community bike shop.
The main benefit that we're going to see is really 5-6 years down the road. They're really at the beginning stages, I think, of building sort of a transportation network on the north side.
We've been rehabbing this space for months now, and we're almost there. And that's what's exciting about Lexington is a bunch of community folks came together and made it happen.